Picture this. You're 19 years old. Your girlfriend is one of the most famous teenagers on the planet. Every move you make is scrutinized. Every photo analyzed. Every relationship dissected by millions of strangers online. This is Jake Bongiovi's reality. But here's what makes his story even more extraordinary. He didn't ask for this spotlight. He was born into it. The son of a rock legend. Living in the shadow of a name that's been echoing through stadiums for decades. Yet somehow he's carved out his own path, found his own voice, and captured the heart of Millie Bobby Brown. This is the story of Jake Bongiovi, a young man caught between two worlds, legacy and love, fame and authenticity. Let me take you inside his journey. The year was 2002. Jon Bon Jovi was at the height of his career. Albums selling millions. Tours selling out worldwide. But in a quiet moment between the chaos, something more precious happened. His son Jake was born. Jacob Hurley Bon Jovi entered the world with a rock star's DNA and a target on his back he didn't even know existed yet. Growing up Bon Jovi meant growing up different. While other kids worried about homework and playground drama, Jake's concerns were more complex. Dad, why are there people with cameras outside our house? Can you imagine being 8 years old and having to ask that question? Jon Bon Jovi, despite his massive fame, tried to give his children normal lives. But normal becomes relative when your last name opens doors and creates expectations simultaneously. Jake's childhood was a careful balance. Private schools. Family vacations that required security details. Birthday parties where guest lists had to be vetted. But Jon was determined. His kids wouldn't be spoiled rock star children. They'd work for everything they got. You want something? Earn it. That became the Bon Jovi family motto. By his teenage years, Jake was developing his own identity. Tall, lean, with his father's. Distinctive features, but softer somehow. More approachable. He wasn't interested in following directly in his father's musical footsteps. Acting called to him instead. But here's where the Bon Jovi name became both blessing and curse. Casting directors knew who he was immediately. Some saw dollar signs. Others saw nepotism. Few saw Jake for just Jake. I want to be taken seriously for my talent, not my last name. He said this in an interview years later. But the struggle was real from day one. Jake enrolled at Syracuse University. Theater major. Ready to prove himself away from the New York spotlight. College was supposed to be his escape. His chance to be normal. Then 2021 happened. Millie Bobby Brown was already a global phenomenon. Stranger Things had made her one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. At 17, she'd experienced more fame than most adults ever would. Red carpets, magazine covers, millions of followers hanging on her every word. But fame at that level comes with isolation. Who do you trust when everyone wants something from you? Jake Bon Jovi was about to become her answer to that question. They met through mutual friends in New York. No cameras. No publicity stunts. Just two young people from famous families who understood each other's unique pressures. He doesn't see me as 11. He sees me as Millie. She later described their first meeting as refreshingly normal. No agenda, no performance. Just genuine connection. But dating Millie Bobby Brown meant stepping into a spotlight Jake had spent 20 years trying to avoid. Their relationship went public gradually. A photo here, a comment there. The internet detective work that follows. Every celebrity romance. Jake's Instagram followers jumped from thousands to millions overnight. Suddenly, his every post was dissected. His fashion choices critiqued. His background investigated. Who is this guy? He's only famous because of his dad. She could do better. The comments were brutal. Jake, who'd grown up with some level of public attention, had never experienced this intensity. This wasn't just fame. This was scrutiny at a molecular level, but something beautiful happened. Instead of running from it, Jake embraced authenticity. His social media stayed real, casual. Photos, genuine moments, no pretense, while other celebrity boyfriends hired publicists and image consultants. Jake remained Jake. The relationship deepened quickly. These weren't typical teenagers dealing with typical relationship challenges. They were navigating long-distance separations due to filming schedules, coordinating security for simple dinner dates, planning vacations that required NDAs for hotel staff. But they made it work. Jake would visit Millie on Stranger Things sets. Millie would attend Jake's college theater productions when she could. They created normalcy within abnormality. "He grounds me," Millie said in interviews. "When the world gets crazy, he reminds me who I am underneath all of this." For Jake, Millie represented someone who truly understood the weight of public expectations. They became each other's sanctuary. Then came 2023, the year everything changed. Jake graduated from Syracuse. His acting career was gaining momentum with small but meaningful roles. The relationship with Millie had survived 2 years of intense public scrutiny. But Jake was at a crossroads. He could leverage his relationship with Millie and his father's name to fast-track his career. Take the easy path. Let connections do the heavy lifting. Or he could continue grinding, auditioning like everyone else, building his reputation one role at a time. Jake chose the harder path. "I want to succeed because I'm good at what I do, not because of who I know." This decision would define his character in ways he couldn't yet imagine. The acting world is notoriously difficult. Even with advantages, rejection is constant. Jake faced the same struggles as every aspiring actor. Failed auditions, roles that went to someone else. The constant question of whether he was good enough. But he had something many actors don't: a support system that understood pressure. Jon Bon Jovi had navigated decades of public life. He knew how to maintain authenticity while managing fame. Millie knew the entertainment industry from a different angle. Child star turned global icon. She understood the business in ways that could help Jake's career. But Jake was determined to make his own way. He took smaller roles, independent films, theater productions that paid very little but offered artistic growth. Each role was chosen for craft development, not career advancement. Meanwhile, his relationship with Millie continued evolving. They weren't just dating anymore. They were building something deeper. Millie's career was exploding beyond Stranger Things. Fashion partnerships, production deals, global brand ambassadorships. Jake's career was growing more quietly. Steady progress, building respect. Among industry professionals who valued talent over connections, they were on different trajectories, but somehow perfectly aligned. "We celebrate each other's wins and support each other through the challenges," Jake explained. In a rare interview, this wasn't typical young Hollywood romance. This was partnership. The engagement rumors started in 2024. Paparazzi photos of Millie wearing what looked suspiciously like an engagement ring. Social media went insane. Too young, too fast. Publicity stunt. But people close to the couple saw something different. Two people who'd found stability in an unstable world. Jake had proven himself worthy of Millie, not through fame or connections, but through character. He'd stood by her during difficult press cycles, supported her through the intense pressure of growing up in public, never tried to use her fame for his own advancement. For Millie, Jake represented something she'd never had before: unconditional love from someone who understood her world, but wasn't intimidated by it. Then came the official announcement. Jake Bongiovi and Millie Bobby Brown were engaged. The internet erupted. Some celebrated the fairy tale romance. Others criticized their young age. Most were simply fascinated by the story. But Jake and Millie weren't focused on public opinion. They were building a life together. Jake's acting career was gaining serious momentum. Roles in respected independent films. Interest from major studios. Industry recognition that had nothing to do with his last name or his relationship. He was becoming Jake Bongiovi the actor. Not just Jake Bongiovi the rock star's son, or Jake Bongiovi the famous girlfriend's boyfriend. The wedding planning became a masterclass in balancing public interest with private wishes. How do you plan a wedding when millions of people feel entitled to details? Jake and Millie chose privacy. Small ceremony, close family and friends only. No media deals or magazine. Exclusives. In an industry where personal moments often become content, they protected what mattered most. "This is about us," Jake said, "not about everyone else." It was a statement that defined his entire approach to fame. Participate when necessary. Protect what's sacred. The wedding itself was everything they wanted it to be. Intimate, meaningful, authentic. Jon Bon Jovi walked alongside his son, probably reflecting on how the little boy who used to ask about cameras outside their house had grown into a man choosing his own path. Millie's family welcomed Jake not as a famous addition to their circle, but as the person who made their daughter happy. The photos that eventually surfaced showed genuine joy. No performance. No staging. Just two people in love, surrounded by people who loved them. Married life brought new challenges. How do you build a normal relationship when nothing about your circumstances is normal? Jake and Millie created their own version of ordinary. Date nights required security planning. Grocery shopping meant disguises and strategic timing. Simple walks became logistical operations. But they adapted. Found joy in small moments. Celebrated normalcy when they could create it. Jake's career continued growing. His choice to build, slowly and authentically, was paying off. Respect from directors. Interest from casting agents who saw his talent first. He was becoming known as Jake Bongiovi, the talented actor who happened to have famous connections, rather than Jake Bongiovi, the famous person who happened to act. Looking at Jake Bongiovi today, you see someone who successfully navigated an impossible situation, born into fame, dating global celebrity, building his own career, managing public scrutiny, maintaining authenticity. Most people in his position would have crumbled under the pressure or lost themselves in the privilege. Jake did neither. He chose the difficult path of earning respect rather than inheriting it, of building love rather than performing it, of creating art rather than leveraging connections. "I want to be remembered for what I contributed, not what I was given," he said recently. It's a philosophy that's guided every major decision in his life. The future looks bright for Jake Bongiovi. Acting projects that excite him. A marriage built on genuine partnership. A family legacy he honors while creating his own. But perhaps most importantly, he's proven something many doubted. That it's possible to be born into privilege and still earn your place in the world. That love can flourish under extreme, public pressure when both people prioritize each other over the spotlight. That authenticity is still the most powerful currency. Even in Hollywood, Jake Bongiovi's story isn't finished. He's still young, still building, still choosing the harder path because it leads to something more meaningful. In a world of manufactured celebrity relationships and nepotism shortcuts, Jake and Millie represent something different, something real, something worth watching unfold. What do you think about Jake Bongiovi's approach to fame and career? Have you found his journey inspiring, or do you think he still benefits too much from his connections? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. For more deep dives into the lives of Hollywood's most fascinating couples,